Alright, so we headed over to Denver for my cousin's wedding in Idaho Springs. I flew in a day early to check out Denver and then stayed a couple days later. I had my good friend Tim pick me up with his girlfriend Alexis who lives there. We went ahead and hit up the 14er Brewery, which was pretty sweet. We got some key lime pie and a spicy beer. Not the biggest fan, but it was still good. We stumbled upon this pop-up WWE wrestling match. Not too sure what it was, but we pulled over, stayed for a little bit, checked out the acting that was going on. It was pretty fun to watch. The crowd was very into it. They gave me a tour around the rest of the city, so we saw Union Station, all their favorite spots. It also happened to be fireworks night at the Rockies game, so we got some great views there, driving across the bridge over to the Highlands area. Stopped by their favorite spot, Leo's, which is a pool bar. Pretty local spot. You know, it went up 3-0. Kind of destroyed there. The next morning we headed over to the Botanical Gardens. They live walking distance and they're members, so they're able to get us free access. I really wanted to check out the cactus area, so here it is. Pretty sweet, lots of cacti. My family had just flown in that day too, so they went ahead and picked me up and we drove over to Idaho Springs and checked into our compound. It was pretty sweet. Everyone was on this road right here you can see, and this was the main building that we all stayed in. Take you through a little tour of it right here. Checked in the hotel. Pretty sweet, good river right there. And see the great little kitchen here that we used every morning, every night. Big family meals there. You see my dad swinging on the swing. So we had a lot of family members flying in. Everyone kind of stayed along this road here. As you can see, it was a pretty large area. This is the main place we all hung out, so everyone kind of came over to our place to have some family breakfasts, some family dinners, and we had a hot tub as well, so that was a hit for me. Yeah, getting down. The wedding venue was down the road here, so not too far, less than a mile. They had a shuttle pick us up and everything, but we were here the day before the wedding, so we had all the family members kind of congregate at Bojo's in downtown Idaho Springs. Apparently this was super popular. Everyone I've talked to has said, oh, did you go to Bojo's? So it is the place to be. They're also known for what's called mountain pizza. It's where you put honey on the crust, and the crust is pretty big. So something new to me. I thought it was okay, to be honest, but people love it. The next morning we headed down the river just about 100 or 200 feet down the road to one of the other houses to check it out. They are literally right on the river and right up against the mountain. Here's our 88-year-old grandpa going down this ladder here in the loft.
Oh, this opens? I haven't tried it out since I figured it out.
So here's the wedding venue just a little bit down the road. It was raining a little bit right when we got there, but cleared up right before the ceremony. The reception was also covered, so that was awesome. And I unfortunately don't have too much footage of it, but a ton of pictures. But overall, great wedding, great venue, great vibes all around. Congrats.
So the next morning we headed over to Big B's Soup and Grilled Cheese, probably some of the best green chili we've ever had. And then me and my brother headed to the Indian Hot Springs Spa and Lodge. They have hot springs and these steam rooms built into the caves. It was almost too hot though. Me and my brother had to go in and out a little bit, and they also had a pool. We also checked out the 4th of July activities going on in downtown Idaho Springs. They had live music, but then all of a sudden it started to pour out of nowhere. And so you can see in this video, everyone's panicking here, trying to find cover somewhere. So we kind of walked around and watched all the panic happen. Oh my God. This one guy here kind of embodies what was going on. You see him just running across the street here. We thought it was hilarious. We then walked along the river to go to the Argo Mill Tour. So everything in Idaho Springs is super walkable, super easy to get around. The gist of the Argo Mill Tour is that they built or what I got out of it, is they built a bunch of networks to kind of funnel all the ore into the Argo mill, where they would then process it and take all the remaining gold out before sending it over back to Denver. Here's an example of one of the caves that they would use, and I guess this is filled with like deadly water now, so they keep it sealed. At the very end of it, we did get a pan for gold. They got 3 flakes in each of our pans, which is worth around $1.50 is what they said in total. Here we are packing up a hearty breakfast. Breakfast was amazing every single day. Uncle Steven did a great job there. So here's us checking in for our AVA whitewater rafting tour. There was a zip line and a ropes course up top that we didn't do. And then we took these school buses out. It was absolutely packed. So me and my brother did the intermediate, which was class 3 and class 4, and the rest of the family members did the beginner, which was I think class 1 and class 2. But as you can see, it was pretty intense, bouncing around a lot. It was raining too, but overall, really fun time. Next up, we drove over to Breckenridge. Here's a shot of our Airbnb. We had 2 of these townhouses that were just built. So they were right across the street from each other, but the elevation here, I think it was around 10,000 plus. So just walking up these stairs and up this ladder, just from house to house, was taking your breath away. So our plan for Breckenridge was to hang around town, go to Vail, do some hiking, and I wanted to do some mountain biking. So me, my brother Cooper, my cousin Jay, all went to this place and rented some nice bikes. I got a Santa Cruz Bronson, kind of top of the line bikes here that we took around the trails.
Grab your bike.
So the trail we ended up doing was the classic Breckenridge Loop. It starts on the Flume Trail, and then it heads up and around and ends on the Barney Flow Trail, which is supposed to be pretty fun downhill. Trails here were also awesome, lots of aspens, beautiful views all around. So we took a lot of breaks because the elevation is pretty killer, it's pretty uphill. We finally made it to the top, and as we started our downhill, Jay accidentally fell off the cliff a little bit. I didn't get it on footage, I wish I did, but we ended up taking a break after that to kind of catch our breath. But good timing we did, because it started to hail right then. When I was looking up on the Mountain Bike Project app, I saw the whole east side is also another cool trail, which like this continues on. So I would check that out as well. I would also want to check out the bike park. We didn't do any of the bike park stuff, but if I were to go back, I would definitely check out the Vail bike park at least, and then probably the Breckenridge one too. Both of them haven't done too much mountain biking, but they all did really well and hung around. I think Barney Flows, Black Diamond, and here it is right here, just kind of a nice flowy trail. Some nice berms, some little rollers, and a couple little wood features that you can just ride onto. I'm not the best mountain biker, but I thought this was an amazing trail, and I loved it. We did it twice.
Oh man, I started cramping.
And you can see he says he starts to cramp there. So we had to wait a little bit, and then we were on 2 blocks away from returning the bikes, and he cramped up again, and here he is on the side of the road not being able to move his legs. For around 20 minutes there. After that, we had our big family dinners that we were having every night. People were kind of paired up to make their whatever they wanted to make for dinner. I think that night was tacos, which were delicious. The next day, we traveled over to Vail. Me and my brother and my dad went there, and I absolutely fell in love with the town of Vail. and everyone was just mountain biking everywhere throughout the little villages. There were just so many bikes. Just a very fun vibe, very summer campy type of vibe going on there. And the architecture is absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah, and then here to get around, they have all these walking paths that are very, very well manicured, very well groomed, and they run along the little creek that's there, and they have all these little signs saying where everything is. So you can walk, you can bike, you can even take the free shuttle, which we ended up doing at the end, and it'll take you from one side of the village to the other. It's actually huge. There's like 3 main sections, but overall, definitely planning a trip to be back here in the winter. I could see this being, you know, an unreal paradise here. Again, just more bikes everywhere here. More shops that look amazing. It looks like you were somewhere in Europe almost. Near the Riverwalk, there is also people just like hanging around the river, kids floating in this with their tube. I was kind of hoping he would go down, but caught himself. We were all celebrating my grandpa's 88th birthday, which happened earlier, and then my brother's graduation from college. The next morning, I headed out to the river in downtown Breckenridge to kind of get a breakfast burrito, but just kind of hang out and do some work by the river. I could see myself doing this every morning if it was possible. We went to the Cool River Cafe. Highly recommend getting the burrito. It had tots in it, and who doesn't love tots? After that, my friends Tim and Alexis came back to Breckenridge. It's around an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from Denver, and we did the Mohawk Lakes hike. There were actually a lot of path closures here, so we had to kind of navigate around. Ended up going through like a closed path.
Didn't really realize we were going through a closed path though, because there weren't really too many signs at the area, but ran into some rangers on our way through it, and they were like, oh, there's some excavators here, be careful, they could actually drop a tree on you, and you know, that assured us to stay on path.
Again, everything on this trip has been about elevation, so the elevation of this hike was absolutely killer. It took us around 6 hours, but this is the lower Mohawk Lake, and we were like, wow, that's amazing, so how much better can the upper one be? And it was pretty dang cool.
Someone mentioned on the way up that we would see goats at the top, but we didn't realize how close they would be to everyone picnicking there. So right behind this group of people, all of these goats were there. I think around 7, including a baby one.
We started to eat lunch, and then the people across the lake were like, behind you. So we turned around, and you can see how close they ended up getting, trying to sneak up on us, trying to take our lunch. Overall, an amazing hike though. Beautiful scenery, tough elevation gain, but can't beat it. Also there were a ton of mosquitoes, so be careful there. I got bit on my forehead, and it looks like I just have a giant zit now. It was also Tim's birthday. And enjoyed the last sunset from Breckenridge.
Overall, a great trip, great company, great activities, great weather. The only other thing I'd want to do is a bike ride from Breckenridge to Vail. Apparently it goes through Frisco. It looks really, really nice. You can see it on the drive over. So I'd want to try that, and I'll just spend more time in the downtown areas, probably do more hiking and some mountain biking. You know, I can stay here forever and have a good time.